Welcome back, everyone, to Last Night I Watched. I'm here in the garage hanging out with my good buddy Ian. What's up, Ian?
Hey, Roman.
Hey.
How's it going, man?
It's good, yeah. And then across from me, I got Mark. What's going on, Mark?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm good, yeah. We to celebrate a 100-year anniversary of Nosferatu, 1922, we watched it, and, yeah, had a good time. I don't watch a lot of silent films, but I definitely had a good time with this one.
Wait! If that was you on the phone and you on the bus, then who was flickering the lights? Nosferatu!
Nosferatu. Ian, what were your kind of like first thoughts on Nosferatu 1922?
It's well, geez, that's a tough question. It's
A little loaded question.
well, yeah, it's watching a silent movie is just so different. It's almost kind of like reading a book or something, or because they talk and then you see the text, and then I think there's straight up parts of the movie where don't they show like pages from a book or something? They kind of like just like you read what's going on, the plot.
Yeah, he's got like the white pages for mythical creatures that he just picks up.
Yeah,
The captain's log, I think. On
that too.
That too. Yeah. Very striking. Count Orlok is a very striking figure. Because that's how I always knew this. I always thought his name was Nosferatu.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think that's because in SpongeBob they Nosferatu and he's flicking the lights. So I always thought that was his name, but it turns out Nosferatu just is kind of another synonym for vampire. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man. I mean, it's I don't know how to kind of put it in words. It's very just striking. I mean, the guy looks so scary.
Yeah.
100 years later, he's still pretty creepy looking.
Yeah, striking, I think, is a good word.
Yeah.
And it kind of has to be, the absence of sound and dialogue and
Right.
stuff. It's so it is so different.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I haven't seen many silent films at all, So it was just it almost like it works a different part of your brain. I like what you said about it being like a book.
Yeah.
Just
out of curiosity, after this, would you be willing to watch more silent films or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
And I liked there's just a lot of craft in it, like it's really well done, I think. And I know what's iconic from it is like the shadows and those scenes and stuff.
The silhouettes or
Yeah, but it's just neat. It's its own genre, kind of. It has to be. They have to do some sort of overacting. We've talked a little about Hutter. Before the podcast, we talked about how he just overacts, but you kind of have to do that when you can't talk.
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, no, I would definitely watch more silent films and stuff, get an idea. But man, 100 years old. That's pretty crazy. That that this movie's been around for 100 years, scaring little kids probably for 100 years, and it still is creepy. There's creepy parts.
Yeah,
definitely, even today.
Yeah, he's pretty scary looking.
Yeah, Mark, how'd you feel about Nosferatu?
That's
I liked it. I haven't seen very many scary silent films. I get more of a not necessarily scared, grabbing your seat, oh my gosh kind of thing, but it's more haunting.
Right.
More
That's
weird you out.
Very, very good. It's almost kind of dreamlike too, and almost like is that like surreal? Is that, I don't know, maybe that's a bad way to put it, but I know what you mean though. It's not like a hanging on your edge of your seat stuff.
Yeah.
And I think you touched on this a little bit. He is what I always thought a vampire should be.
Yeah.
Not the suave dude, with the cape and all that kind of jazz. This is, I mean, he's a monster.
Yeah.
And he is portrayed as one of those, and that's what I liked about it.
Nice.
And you were talking about the overacting, for the most part, except for I can't remember the real estate guy. The others did a pretty good job. He was just bad.
You're talking about Hutter, the main guy? Or?
Yeah. He was something.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, but then I don't know. I think I told you this. I had this really dumb thought. like, oh man, 1922 movies are still relatively new. I'm like, maybe acting just isn't that far along yet.
Yeah.
And then like I think half an hour later or something, I was thinking back and I'm like, what the hell am I talking about? You know, they've been doing plays for like thousands of years. Acting is not a new thing. Stage acting, you know.
But at the same, I think you're onto something there, because they were still, I think, in that mindset of theater and plays. You know, that all these people had a theater background.
Yeah.
So I think you might be right. I think it just, you know, the acting on the screen on film was still in its infancy.
Yeah.
They were still probably more used to the kind of performing in front of a live audience mindset. Mm-hmm. So I think I kind of agree with you in that sense.
Yeah. So old Hutter there was just, he was a bit exaggerated and everything. But, you know, I guess he got the story across fine. Were you guys confused by the story at all? I actually watched it a couple times, and I felt like I picked up a little more the second time.
Yeah, if I had not known the plot of Dracula, I think I would be pretty confused. Because the plot is almost identical to Dracula. They changed a little bit.
Right.
But I could say, if I had not known that, I could maybe be struggling to follow.
Yeah, like why did the real estate boss, why did they come back and he was in jail?
Oh yeah,
right.
Knock, yeah.
He's the kind of creepy looking one too. He's like bald.
Yeah,
I forget his name in this.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Knock.
You know, why did he jump
Is
out
that
of
his
the
name, Knock?
window?
Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of just walking out of the front door.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, right. Doesn't he like go up on the roof at the end or something?
He's chased around by the townspeople.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way I read into it was sort of that he's like the Igor to Orlok's, Frankenstein. He's am I mixing up movies?
Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What am I saying?
Yeah.
He was like the little assistant vampire almost or something.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys felt? Like he was a vampire
No,
as
because
well?
I think that character is supposed to be Renfield in the book, and that's Renfield is that character in the book. Yeah, he's like Dracula. He becomes Dracula's servant, pretty much.
Yeah. So I guess, but it was a little strange the way they went about it, like the juxtaposition and stuff. They would just cut back to him, and he's chilling in a jail cell and jumping on guards, failed escape attempts, and then the townspeople chase him around.
Yeah.
You know, the pitchforks,
torches. Does he succumb to death? Does he like fall off the building or something? I don't even remember.
I truly don't remember the way the way his story ends.
That's another thing too. It's like, this is a really good movie to watch while like you're like about to fall asleep, because it just fits so. Again, it's just like it's like a nightmare or something. The way it flows, and just obviously the creepy Max Schreck stuff. Like it's very, very much like a dreamlike kind of movie to me.
Yeah, we've been talking about
like it.
We've been talking about David Lynch before this, before we started recording, and David Lynch needed to take a swing at Nosferatu for the 100-year anniversary.
Yes, I'm going to be adapting Nosferatu for my next project. I'm David Lynch.
Yeah. Yeah, but man, I still had a good time. I had a really good time watching this, and I think also, I wasn't here for Batman, but we did Nightmare Alley before that, and it's just sometimes really long movies can almost drag a little bit at certain parts, and maybe there was a couple parts where it dragged here, but it being so short, an hour and a half, hour 20 minutes or whatever it was, like I feel like that's really nice because it's just bite size,
It's interesting.
Like a human neck, bite size.
Yeah, it's interesting because most silent movies I've seen around this time are more like an hour.
Yeah, it probably was long for its time.
Yeah.
Which is funny to think, but
right.
No, I like the length because it's easy to just sink your teeth into.
Exactly.
To keep that going.
I agree.
When I started watching it, because it's got kind of a slow beginning, and it kind of scared me. It's like, oh man, I hope the whole movie isn't like this.
Right.
But it did start cranking it up there when he got to the castle.
Yeah, where Count Orlok picks him up in the carriage, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Count Orlok, when he pops out and he's got like that hat on and everything, and he's it was a little funny when I was rewatching it. He looked a little like an older lady, like he was kind of cold. He's just come walking out. Come into my castle. I actually liked the part before that too, where he gets to like the little village in Transylvania or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, the people are warning him. That's when he first sees the book.
Yeah. They're all like having a great time, and then he brings up that he's going to see Count Orlok, and that's when everybody's like, whoa.
Yeah. You could just feel the record scratch.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Key record scratch. Exactly.
Yeah. And then you see the werewolf. That was chilling.
Right. Yeah.
No, I actually had a funny thought. I mean, it's a hyena, right? But
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What if like in 1922 they just didn't really see a lot of hyenas in Germany, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe they were like, what kind of awful creature is that?
Are there hyenas in Germany? I guess there are.
I'm sure there are zoos and stuff, but maybe they're not native. Anyway, I just thought like it was a funny choice to use a hyena.
Yeah, probably went down to the zoo and said, "Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Who's that?"
There's werewolf. There's armadillos in Dracula. It's like, what the fuck are armadillos doing in Transylvania?
The native to Transylvania.
Yeah. I like to have armadillos guarding my castle while I sleep. They're a very ferocious animal.
Old Bella.
Yeah. Did you guys like the, I don't know what version you guys watched, because apparently there's like different run times, and I don't know if it changes with the version you watch, but like the tinting of the scenes, like some scenes are tinted green, some scenes are kind of tinted like a magenta purple, some scenes like they're kind of like sepia toned.
Yeah. Blue. I think that is to show the difference between night and day.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because there were parts where I was confused on if it was daytime or nighttime.
Right.
And they probably had to film most of it during the day, I guess.
I think all of it was filmed during the day.
Yeah. So then they just put like a little blue or a green filter over it.
Yeah, to kind of signify, yeah, this is nighttime now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I like about movies of this time. I kind of like that. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's always cool when you have like more limited tools, and so you have to kind of rely on different forms of, you know, ingenuity and stuff to get things to show.
Yeah.
So, you know, nighttime, it's blue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, along that vein, how about the special effects?
Yeah.
The physical effects,
right,
for that time.
Yeah, the optical in-camera effects. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, him raising up out of the coffin.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, him popping up.
Yeah.
I saw that
that's
terrified
so cool.
audiences back in the day.
That's such a great scene.
Yeah.
That's iconic, really.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys know how he did it? I didn't look that one up. But
I didn't. I guess maybe they just maybe there was something behind him, or maybe there was like a, I don't know,
a couple people lifting him up. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had like a stick, move him up or something. A very thin, hard to see stick.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that still holds up. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
You know, you could play that like you go to like a store around Halloween and just play that on like a display TV or something. You know, I mean, it's just like it's just so, again, iconic.
I also thought it was really creepy. It's not any kind of effect, but when he comes like rising out of the, well, I guess you could say the physical effect is the what's it called, to the bottom of the ship opening up like below deck, and like the tarp peels back and then the lid pops open.
Yeah,
you know, that's more like what, stop motion or something probably. But
they used they shot a bunch of stills.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because they did that. There was a coffin closing.
Oh yeah, that's
on the back.
Okay.
Yeah,
when he goes off to the ship.
And they said if you look at it real close, that that scene as it's closing, the horses, their heads are really weirdly turned.
Because the horses probably aren't cooperating.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's funny.
With stop motion. Stay still, horses.
These horses are going crazy.
But I did, you know, when he pops out of the little cargo hold or whatever, that was pretty creepy, honestly.
Yeah.
Like this weird looking face, and you know,
because he kills the entire crew, right?
He does.
Yeah.
And that was another interesting thing I wanted to bring up, is that I don't know how much of his killing is like physical, like him going up to people, biting them in the neck or whatever. It seems like there's some kind of like magic going on, you know, where like, you know, when they open up the coffin, he's not in there. It's just a bunch of rats, right?
Right.
And then, like, but slowly it all takes over the ship. I just thought that was really interesting, like the kind of the mythos of it all. Like, he's not necessarily, but then later he does disappear and reappear.
Yeah.
So maybe he is, or maybe like just his presence is like terrifying everybody and
that's
causing them to die. And get sick.
That's one thing that I think the biggest change for this one is they added a plague element, because that's not in Dracula at all, to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rats spread a plague.
Yeah,
to the town, it becomes like an epidemic in a way.
But I wasn't sure how much of it was like an actual, you know, like bubonic plague type plague, or it was just like the evil of the vampire, of the Nosferatu, I should say.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting angle to approach.
Yeah. And in Dracula, right, he bites people and they become a vampire, right?
Right.
Like, you don't have that here. He bites people and they die.
And he has like
Well,
he has servants
Hutters.
too. He's got like lady servants. I don't know if that's in the book or not. I've never read the book.
Yeah.
But in the movie, in the 1931 movie, he has like these 3 ladies that are kind of like his. They do his bidding, in a way. It's actually kind of funny. They're about to bite Renfield to turn him, and then he kind of shoos him. He's like, no, this one is mine. Go away, ladies. Like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. It does seem like there's a difference in this movie for Orlok, like he feeds on Hutter a couple times, but he doesn't die. Hutter,
and I don't think you ever see him do it, right? It's all off screen.
Yeah, you see him creep up to him with his shadow one time.
Yeah.
There's the first night he wakes up in like the chair.
Right.
And he's kind of like...
notices the marks on his neck.
Yeah. But I wonder why, I wonder why Hutter doesn't die like everybody on the ship does,
That's a good point.
Maybe, I don't know how long that ship voyage was supposed to be, but maybe he got, hungry, had to just like suck all their life essence away or something. I don't know.
Perhaps so.
Well, back in the day, and what they would do is they would liken, a sickness or a plague or whatever to maybe not necessarily a vampire, but somebody that's could be making it or could be helping it come along. Mm-hmm. So they would dig them up, and that's where they would, cut off their heads or put stakes through their heart, that kind of stuff, is to hoping to stop whatever it is coming along.
Right.
And one of the things I read, which is really cool, they would sprinkle rice around the grave. And then if the vampire came up, he would have to count the rice before he could leave his grave.
Oh my God.
It would like take him, a long time.
That's
to get all
hilarious.
his little grounds.
He's like, the sun is up.
Vampires have OCD, apparently. That's hilarious. Wow.
I could see that.
I've never heard that. That's
Weird
amazing.
Stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, all the stuff you think up, in the 1900s when you're bored.
Yeah.
And there's no TV.
One thing I read was this movie kind of invented the trope that vampires disintegrate in sunlight.
Oh, yeah,
Yep,
neat.
Exactly.
Yeah, that wasn't so much of a thing before, huh?
Yeah. Apparently, this movie kind of ushered that in, which I never even thought of or knew. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just ingrained in all of us now.
Yeah, because I guess in the novel of Dracula, it's just they don't like sunlight, and they, that's the reason why. But in this one, that's how he kind of meets his demise. Sort of disappears.
Yeah. How do you think
the sunlight.
they achieved that effect of him fading? Is
I
it
don't
the
know.
same? Yeah.
I have no idea.
I tried to look it up kind of briefly. I didn't really find much on it. I'm assuming maybe some kind of like stop motion and messing with like the film itself somehow, like
Probably.
scrubbing it.
They had to
scrubbing him
probably,
away somehow. But yeah, he fades a couple times when he goes through a door once or twice, and then at the end when he bursts into fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not bad, not bad for 100-year-old movie.
No, I read that Bram Stoker's estate tried to like destroy this movie. That they actually because they didn't have, basically it was like a copyright thing, like a plagiarism, because that's pretty much what we didn't bring up. This is directed by F.W. Murnau, I think is how you say it, and he pretty much just, I don't know why he didn't seek to get the rights. I don't really know the whole story, but he basically just took the novel Dracula and just changed the names around and added maybe like a few plot elements and
removed it here, added it here,
yeah,
a couple tweaks, but you're right, it's still Dracula.
Yeah, and I guess that really pissed Bram Stoker. I don't know if Bram Stoker was still alive at that time, or maybe it was like his he was dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was his wife.
Yeah, they tried to basically just like get totally just
get rid of Nosferatu, basically.
Like all the film prints and everything, just kind of just destroy it. So this almost could have become a lost film. I'm glad it didn't, because there are a lot of. There's one that always I think of. It's called London After Midnight. I think it's from 1927. It's a Lon Chaney movie, and there's a big fire at Universal Studios in the 50s or 60s, and a bunch of movies got lost, and that was one of them.
Yeah,
it's just sad. It's just sad. That's insane to me that like there are movies that we'll never be able to see because I think it was the kind of film they shot on at the time was nitrate. It was very flammable.
Yeah. Lost
Sad.
to the sands of time.
Yeah, but I'm glad that didn't happen with this, because, you know, I mean...
It almost did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
They almost got it all.
Yeah, but thankfully they didn't.
I saw that guy, F.W. Murnau, he had like 20 films or something, but like 10 of them or whatever the number is were lost completely.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, so we'll never know what other stuff. And he was young too. He's like 40 when he passed away.
Oh, yeah. I think I read that. Sad.
Yeah, his grave got desiccated and
Really?
desiccated or crated. I don't know. But yeah, they took his skull. Somebody has
What?
his skull somewhere, I guess.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that'd be kind of
Was that
cool,
like
but
was that like after a while like he died, or was it like
Yeah.
more close to when he
from
was
what
buried?
I read, I think like World War II-ish time, so like 20 years or like 10
Okay.
years later or whatever.
Damn, man, that's nuts.
Yeah,
Grave
probably some
robbers.
occult, related.
Ghouls.
Yeah,
Ghouls
ghouls,
hanging out around the cemeteries.
vampires, ghosties, and ghouls.
Yes, exactly. Spooky.
His production company eventually closed down too because of
I think
the
I read that too.
soakers
Yeah.
Damn,
drained
Yeah.
him out. Yeah.
they came after
Sad.
everybody.
I forget what his the production company's name was, but I read that as well. Which, yeah, they were pretty relentless. But at the same time, it's like, I guess to play devil's advocate, I guess they kind of had a point. They did seriously just take the book and change the names around and add a few things here and there. I mean, because really, it's the same fucking thing. Like,
Yeah.
really, it's kind of almost beat for beat the same premise.
Yeah.
Which, again, it makes me wonder, like, why didn't you just, try to be able to get the rights to it or something? Or, I don't know. It's very
It was
strange.
guerrilla filmmaking.
I guess so,
maybe.
yeah.
It was I'm sure copyright
What
laws
do you-
and stuff were different too.
Like, he was a maverick. Was that the proper term?
yeah, maybe he just went out there and he does what he wants. That
Exactly.
FW Murnau. Yeah.
Mark, were you able to watch the John Malkovich, Willem Dafoe movie?
No.
Okay. It's like a retelling, like a fictionalized version of how they like play like Max Schreck was like an actual vampire.
Yeah, it's what we do in the shadows, right?
Yeah.
2001.
Which I forgot. Isn't there a Nosferatu character in that?
In the
I
movie?
forget. Yeah, like
besides?
he has to bring him chickens to feed on and stuff. Like he's kind of like he like lives in the basement or something.
I don't remember that. No,
I think
that's funny.
I need to watch that again. But like there was a very Nosferatu looking character.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
That'll just be the thing, just put in little clips of the SpongeBob, Nosferatu. Well, it's funny because like if you're younger and you grew up watching SpongeBob in that era, like where you're with us, like 20s, 30s, that's probably your first exposure to Nosferatu.
That was mine. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of 8-year-olds going around watching silent films, in 2002.
Exactly.
But they're watching SpongeBob. Yeah, and they like it's jarring in the show because, they take like in an animated show of SpongeBob, they take like an actual still of Count Orlok, Max Schreck looking all creepy and stuff, and like giving a little weird smile. And all that.
Yeah.
So
A couple of weeks ago, Carlos told me what movie we were doing. He rattles off, Nosferatu. Okay. Well, I've been trying to practice this all week because for some reason I cannot pronounce it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Right. And so I'm on a video chat last night with two of my sons, and I tried to tell him it's a vampire movie, it's a Nos something, and my youngest just rattles it off like really poetic. I'm like, what the hell,
That's funny.
So on the way over here this morning, I've been chanting it, trying
That's cool.
to remember how to pronounce it.
I think it's Nosferatu. Is that how you say it? Nosferatu?
That's what I've been.
Okay.
Nosferatu.
Yeah.
sounds right. Tomato, tomato.
Nosferatu.
Oh, it's not like you can hear the pronunciation in the movie. You read
very
it
true.
from the manual.
Yeah.
I like that manual that he had, telling him all this stuff, like
Yeah.
just giving you exposition basically,
Right. I like
telling you.
and like they kind of like do like a Venus flytrap analogy, like to describe like how vampires get their life in a way. I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, that little scene, like right 5 minutes or whatever, right in the middle, randomly, just
Yeah.
like this is like a vampire now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that reminded me of like, I don't know, Gremlins, you know, when he's like in the school, and he's messing with the gremlin, and,
right?
Or you know, just it's pretty. I think it's like a pretty standard scene for exposition and stuff.
Definitely.
But to do it with plants is cool.
Yeah,
I can't see like plants in black and white and not think of now I'm blanking on the name, the pods.
Oh, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Which is also shown in Gremlins.
Oh, that's right.
He's watching it on the TV.
Yeah,
that's
see,
funny.
there you go. I mean, it's full circle.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. 6 degrees of Nosferatu.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nosferatu?
Nosferatu. Because, like, they say it in SpongeBob. Nosferatu.
Yeah. I guess it's all up to interpretation.
Yeah.
I really like the shadows, everything to do with the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really clever, you know, because you can't do special effects.
There we go.
So
Carlos just pulled it up. Count Orlok,
he is from Transylvania.
He's a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania.
So they didn't even go so far as to change the location. You know, they could have said he was in, you know, Austria or something.
Now that I'm watching this, Roman, it's like
but
it's like Danny DeVito and Charlie, and It's Always Sunny. Those two right there.
He does take it. I mean, he does originate it in Germany because of the copyright stuff that he was trying to dodge.
Well, I think it's just because they were based in Germany too. It's just like we'll just base it here. I think.
Right, like
that's what I would imagine.
This is a German movie, not a British.
And that's one thing I wanted to bring up too. German expressionism, which I always like. If someone were to ask me, it's like, what is that? I would say like, have you ever watched a Tim Burton movie? That's German expressionism, like the Batman, Beetlejuice, even Edward Scissorhands, like kind of like, oh man, just very stylistic. I don't know how to describe it, but basically it's that gothic almost.
Yeah.
Gothic's there we go. And I really like that a lot. My favorite silent film is The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which came out 2 years before this, and it's also a German film too. And I think that encapsulates like everything that's cool about the German expression style. It's just I like it more than this movie personally. This movie's great, but I think that one I just like it more.
So this one has that as well, German expression.
Yeah, not as much as The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. That one's probably a better example, but you can see it in this a little. And one thing, like, you know, I wanted to bring up also is Tim Burton is a very big fan of this style and probably of this movie because he named Christopher Walken's character in Batman Returns Max Schreck, which is the name of the actor who played Count Orlok. So, you know.
Max Schreck.
Schreck!
Because Schreck means what, pain or something like that in German?
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Terror.
And I think that's why people, the actors in this movie thought it was a fake name. Like this guy was kind of a phony, but apparently that was his real name.
Oh yeah, I have cousins named Shrek actually, and they live here in California. So.
Oh, I was gonna ask if they live in a swamp.
And they're not very terrifying.
They'd be like, "What?
They're not big and green and talking a Scottish rogue."
No.
They don't have a dog.
He was a fireman, fire chief.
Don't have a donkey.
Placerville or something.
Donkey.
Yeah, Shrek. Yeah, that's. I wonder if there's any connection there too.
Oh, maybe.
But just for his name to be Max Schreck is just so funny. It's like Max Payne, you know. Max Schreck, maximum terror.
That's
fear.
hilarious. God.
Yeah. But earlier I had been mentioning the shadows because we talked a little about special effects, and you know, obviously special effects are in their infancy at this time for film, and you can manipulate shadows more than you could like a human, you know. So like I think of when he reaches for the doorknob, and like it's like two different shadows, or it's like the same shadow but on two different walls or something, so the perspective is kind of messed up, and like you see his fingers like look like they're just like extending really long to go to the you know.
Yeah, that's a great shot.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite shots in the movie.
All the shadow shots I would say are amazing. Like him climbing up the stairs is super iconic. Yeah, you know.
Yes.
And then even at the beginning when like he's first feeding on Hutter, or I think technically his second time, Hutter's asleep in his castle in Transylvania, and he like raises up.
There we go. Yeah, so great.
You know, it's just, I'm sure at the time like that was terrifying.
Yeah,
people,
that must. Yeah, that must.
He's got his pointy ears, his balded head.
Yeah, that must have just really made people piss their pants back in 1922.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it's a little like a dream or a nightmare. You know?
Yeah.
Like you're asleep and shit's going on around you.
Yeah.
I really like probably my favorite use of the shadow is when at the end with the wife or whatever she is.
Yeah.
You know, he reaches up to her chest and like stops on her chest and his fist closes and right on her heart, and you see her like faint back.
Yeah.
Just real creepy, real. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so striking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a good way to do it. You know, striking is right. It's
I think
it's
I
just
said
the
that.
silhouette and
That's my word of the day, striking.
strike you down.
You shall strike
Vampire.
me down. Strike me down, and you will become more powerful than this. Whatever the hell. Strike me down.
It is kind of interesting. Like the silent film leaves you to sort of make your own like dialogue and make your own voices and stuff in your head.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like, you know, the absence of noise in a weird way can like make it noisier than anything. Like, you know, what your mind can create can be scarier than what's on the screen.
Yeah, definitely.
Or, you know, through your headphones or whatever.
Yeah,
I like the ending with the lady is kind of cool. Like Hutter wakes up and finds her after she faints, and she sends him away on purpose so that she can, you know, that almost felt like what's the word I'm trying to think of, like almost like sexual, if that makes sense. Like her like flinging the window open, and Nosferatu, that sex symbol over there, he's just like standing at the opposite window looking across.
That's hilarious.
But you know, it's a bit like, I don't know, an affair. You know, like she sends him away,
like a love triangle.
Yeah. But of course, you know, she's doing it to sacrifice herself.
Right.
But still, just that kind of feeling was there for me. I felt like, you know,
yeah, I can see that.
This cheating lady.
That's hilarious.
You know, her neck was so good that made him forget about the sun coming up. That's really what it says, you know.
Yeah.
Like, a pure lady or whatever must make him forget. Basically, he's so like enthralled by her.
Right.
He can't help but get after it. And,
Yeah.
You know, and that's his ultimate downfall.
His demise. Yeah.
Yeah. His demise. He just couldn't resist.
Yeah. Can't live with him. Can't live without him.
Yeah. Even going back to like when he first, you know, he's talking to Hutter and they're going over the plans, and like the little pocket watch or whatever falls out and it's got her picture.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and he's just kind of like,
yeah. He's been stricken.
Yeah. I'm gonna move into the house right across from you.
Yeah.
What do you say? She has a beautiful neck, or
Yeah.
Your wife has a beautiful neck.
Here we go.
Again, I don't know how he talks. I liked that about the vampire, or about the Nosferatu. Like Orlok, people could sense him coming. It seemed like you know, Hutter's wife could sense him coming. She knew he was making his way. She was like looking out the window and met him as he rode up on his horse.
Yeah.
And then Knock, you know, when Orlok makes it into the city, he kind of he can feel it, and that's when he escapes and runs rampant. Kind of like the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely see that. So, do you guys have a favorite adaptation of like Dracula or vampires? My point being is like this isn't mine. I like it a lot, but you know, this is not really my go-to vampire film or what have you.
Yeah, this is definitely an early version of the vampire. He's still not even called a vampire yet. Well, actually that's not true. He is. They do write in the book vampires.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the book that he's reading throughout, but they also call him Nosferatu.
Right.
You know, it's not a good movie, I would say, but I actually really like the vampires in 30 Days of Night. Like,
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I think it's a Canadian movie.
Okay.
And it takes place in like Alaska. And you know how it is in Alaska, the day-night cycle is weird. And so for like those 30 days of nighttime, it's like then these vampires come out, and they're like super vampires. You know, they have super strength, and they're like jumping around sometimes. There's a couple cheesy parts, but I did like those vampires. I think if I was to be creeped out by a vampire, it would be ones like that you basically can't escape. Those are nightmare.
Okay, cool.
Nightmarish, you know.
Nice.
Of course, when I first think of a vampire, I think of probably like Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, same.
You know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Orlok is up there.
Yeah.
You know how you said at the beginning, Mark. Like when you think of a vampire, you don't necessarily need like the guy and like, you know, the sharp suit.
Yeah.
you know.
Rico Suave.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Well spoken vampire. Like, this guy is just creepy.
Yeah.
Vampire, I'll suck your life force, basically. You know.
Well, my favorite movie is Let Me In, or
Okay, I haven't
the
seen that
Swedish
either.
version is Let the Right One In.
Okay.
Oh, I've seen that. Or
Yeah.
never seen that, but
I know of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never seen
Yeah.
it though.
I highly recommend either one.
Okay.
Really. The Swedish version, Let the Right One In, is subtitled.
Okay.
But yeah, and the book is really good too.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah,
Nice.
with that, I tried watching the 30 Days of Night, and it was dark. It was filmed too dark for me to see.
It is really
everything,
dark.
you
Yeah.
know?
Wow.
Yeah. So
It's one of those movies that is like black most of the way through. You
That's
know,
interesting.
Dark screens. Yeah.
I had to give up on it. I just
Yeah, I would say
I couldn't see the details well enough to.
Wow.
the vampires are a little flawed for sure, and everything else is not so great in that movie. That's why I said
Okay.
I don't think it's a great movie, but
Okay.
you know, I did feel the fear of the vampire well.
Okay.
Or, you know,
Nice.
pretty strongly.
That's cool.
I was gonna say, in this movie, do they have they don't have that element to the vampire where you have to allow them to come in, or do they? Because she beckons him a little bit at
Maybe.
the end,
Maybe that's
But-
a good question. I don't know.
but
Yeah,
he also
they-
just fades through the door at one part. So maybe.
Yeah.
But do they need to be invited in?
That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't know if I've never read Dracula,
Right.
so I don't know if that's part of the
Maybe that
you
came
know, the
later.
mythos. or
Maybe.
not.
Yeah.
And that's one thing too. It's like there's no like stake through the, like you were talking about, no stake through the heart. You know, none of
No
that.
rice.
Yeah. Yeah. No rice. No rice.
No rice.
No lice.
One thing I thought was cool. This is really random, but when Hutter first gets the ride out to Dracula's castle, the horses have like those masks on. Kind
Oh
of.
yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was just standard back in the day, or if they were
guess
making them
so.
look creepy for the vampire. But
Yeah.
that was kind of cool to me. I was just looking at them like, oh, creepy horses. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Very
It's-
creepy.
Everything is unsettling about this. You know, he even says to his wife at the beginning, like, I'm going to the land of banshees and, you know, vampires or whatever he says, and she's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
he's like hella cheerful, like talking
Yeah,
to
he's
her,
excited,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna go to, you know, the land of nightmares and blah blah
Yeah.
blah, and she's just like, what?
That's funny.
Yeah, old boy, old Hutter,
Yeah.
just throwing his arms around all dramatically and like toppling over and all this stuff.
Golly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Pratfalls.
something.
Yeah.
It's memorable at least.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So if they hadn't come up with the killing him by sunlight, how would you? Because all the things that we've talked about, you know, the wooden stake and such. Well, the wooden stake, I don't know if that's part of Stoker's Dracula, but if they hadn't come up with, you know, him perishing by sunlight, I mean, do we have a wrestling match now to try to kill him? You know, how do we kill
Good point.
Orlok now?
Well, that's
Yeah.
another thing too. There's no Van Helsing in this movie.
Oh,
either.
right, yeah.
Right.
They nixed him out of it.
Yeah.
Because that's how like in at least the adaptations I've seen of Dracula, Van Helsing's the one who kind of explains like, you know, the stake through the heart and the wool. They don't like wolfsbane and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
wolfsbane, garlic.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
The cross.
Yeah, that
you know.
you can't see them in a mirror, all that stuff. Yeah, no reflection. Yeah.
Yeah, none of that's
That's a good
addressed.
question, Mark.
So now we're looking at a 2-hour movie if we start throwing in all this stuff that he can't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
get the Van Helsing character explain stuff.
Yeah, the
But he's like
exposition.
Von Helsing or something. You know?
Right,
He's German.
That's funny.
Gustav von Helsing.
Knox Harrington, the video artist.
Okay, we were talking about favorite vampires. We haven't heard Ian's.
Yeah.
My favorite. Well, I like From Dusk Till Dawn. You guys ever seen that? George Clooney. I like that one a lot. Because that one's just so weird. It starts out like a crime movie, and then it all of a sudden just turns into like a vampire horror
Yeah,
movie.
halfway through
Yeah.
this vampire bar.
Yeah, I really like that movie a lot.
Yeah.
I like Bela Lugosi's Dracula. I was gonna actually ask, did you guys watch the 1979 Nosferatu? Like,
No, I didn't.
Werner
I
Herzog?
watched a side by side like
Okay.
comparison. You know.
It's good. It's not as I'd take this. Klaus Kinski portrays Count Orlok in that. He does a pretty. He's really creepy looking too.
Yeah. Yeah, he did, but he's different, obviously.
Yeah, I'd have to say I would choose the 1922 version, but that one's good too. It's well done. They're like, it's interesting that they're adapting Nosferatu instead, because that's an adaptation already. So it's kind of interesting.
An adaptation of an adaptation.
Exactly, yeah. But if you guys, if you ever get a chance to see it, I would recommend it. It's a decent watch.
Yeah. You know how I know Werner Herzog is from Rick and Morty when...
yes.
Yeah, he's like the alien that needs Jerry's
penis.
Yeah.
I've dealt with the humans and their penises.
Yeah, yeah.
That is all they like. It's funny to say they are small. It is funny to say they are big.
Yeah, I remember like looking up like, why does this guy sound like he sounds like a
it's
famous
so
guy.
Almost like out of place. Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
Oh, that's Werner Herzog,
Yeah.
who's like, I've never seen any of his movies, but yeah, no.
He's like, I've been at parties where people hold things in front of them and go, "Look at me, I'm Mr. So and So Dick.
Yeah.
I have such and such for a penis. I never saw it fail to get a laugh."
There's just something about human nature. You know what's funny is I even thought that when the first time I saw Nosferatu rise up like from the board in the ship, like the guy's got the axe, and he's just like it comes up like a stiffy, like a stiffy.
he's a walking hard on.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
I was in the moment. It was scary and everything, but still, there's like just this little childish part of me that's like, it's kind of like a dick.
If this movie were to have sound, it would have done like a boing, kind of like the sound effect.
Okay, there's a movie. The title to it, there was a vampire movie that was made the year before.
Before this?
Nosferatu,
Okay.
yes. And it's lost. It's gone.
Okay.
The only reason that they know this movie even exists is because of word of mouth. They saw it in writings and papers and that kind of stuff. Otherwise, they never even know.
That's crazy.
That was and I thought it was interesting. I'm trying to find the. I'm trying to find the.
Yeah, that's nuts.
You gotta wonder, would that have been better or significant or so bad that nobody would ever seen it? Or I wonder.
That's a good point.
I wonder how. Again, I haven't seen many silent movies and movies from 1922, so I wonder how it compares to movies made at the same time.
Right.
Was this one, like so many movies we watch, was it panned critically, but became a cult classic? I wonder.
I don't know.
I didn't look into like the reception, that it got.
Yeah.
But I can assume it would creep people the hell out.
Yeah, definitely.
Something about there's less frames per second, and something about that just makes it creepy as
it's kind of herky jerky. I think it's like 18 or 19 frames per second instead of the standard 24. I forget what it is exactly, but you're right. Yeah, it gives it, and that's another thing too with the surreal dreamlikeness of it. I think that's what gives it to me also. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know this.
Yeah, Robert Eggers. I had seen this, and that made me excited because I haven't seen Northman. Northman hasn't come out. I haven't seen Lighthouse.
Lighthouse I really liked.
Yeah, but I really liked The Witch.
Lighthouse is really good. The Witch is good.
Yeah, I think I've talked about Witch on here before, that when I first left the theater after The Witch, like me and everybody we were with, we were like, that movie was terrible, like so slow, nothing happens. And then like almost like the dream-likeness of Nosferatu, it just kind of stuck with me, and like I was dreaming about it for a few days. I'm like, like The Witch was actually really well done. And then when I rewatched it later, I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. This is a crazy good movie, like a good modern horror movie. Yeah. That's not like relying on, jump scares and things like that. It's not The Conjuring.
Psychological.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And just also a period piece, which is really cool.
Right.
And you could kind of consider this a period piece. So, Robert Eggers, if he was to do a modern Nosferatu 101 years later or whatever, and I'm sure it'd have Anya Taylor-Joy in there. She'd be the Hutter's wife, probably.
Maybe she'll be Count Orlok.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. She's kind of got the look.
This movie was banned. It was banned in Sweden until 1972.
That's insane. Jeez.
They couldn't hang over there.
Swedes couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Those Swedes.
That's interesting.
They're Norwegian.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
As far as scenes go, I would just say everything to do with the ship was what I thought was my favorite, Of course, there's like him, rising up from his coffin and that creepy shot, and then also him coming out of the hold is creepy, and then they have that shot like from the hold, like, you know, it's like at his feet pointing up basically, and he's kind of like walking side to side towards the ship captain who tied himself up. You know, the first mate had jumped off.
Right.
I like the first mate, like, too, like just the way he moves with the axe is very like, I can't describe it, but it is dreamlike, you know. And all that stuff with the ship, even leading up to, I really like the shot of like from the town when the ship like comes in from right side of frame, and like, you know, just like it breaks through, and then like you slowly see it, and you know, like, oh shit, like they're in for something, you know, the plague is coming. And Count Orlok. So yeah, just the ship, like the isolatedness, you know, like everybody's screwed, and also that gives you more insight into how he operates. You know, they open the coffin, he's not in there, he's somehow like evaporated, but he's still like kind of, he gets into everybody, and everybody ends up dying, and by the end you got the first mate and the captain who are like all sickly looking, and they've probably been being fed on for days at that point.
Right.
And yeah, I just thought it was cool to see Count Orlok operate like that. You know, before you just saw him in his castle with Hutter doing his thing, but now you saw him like actually organize. Like he fixes up his coffins, gets himself onto the ship, kills everybody, and then now he's off in this Wisborg, Germany, you know, port town, about to cause some more havoc. Right. You know, I just think some of the creepiest stuff is on that ship.
Yeah, that's a very good choice.
Yeah, that would have to be it for my like favorite scene. I don't know if it's technically one scene, because, and here's another interesting thing. I liked how they cut like between Orlok's voyage on the ship with Hutter making his way, you know, by land on the horse. And then you got like, it cuts to like the wife's perspective and stuff like that. So you kind of got like three things being told all at once.
Yeah,
And you know, I don't know how, again, how common that was back in the 20s, but you know, it just seemed like a really cool way to tell the story. And I didn't think it was too slow or uninteresting or anything like that.
Yeah,
you know?
Same.
But yeah, you really get the sense of terror and isolation, you know, like that you would have if you were on the ship, if you were the captain, and you just know you're screwed.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, a captain goes down with the ship. You know, he tied himself to the.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was one thing I saw in like some trivia I was reading. It was like people said that it was not realistic because he didn't tie like a boatsman's knot. He tied like a such and such knot.
Oh wow,
and that's the Simpsons comic book guy.
That's
like,
hilarious.
I can't believe
they
wouldn't have him tie a proper
that's
knot.
So funny.
You know, but you know, yeah. In the 20s, there were probably some sailors that saw that, and they were like, this movie's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they can believe everything else, but...
the wrong knot.
Yeah.
Took me out of the film.
Yeah, completely.
Funny.
But what about you guys? Do you have any, like, favorite scenes, Mark?
Now you pretty much covered mine. Most of it has to do with the ship. It's the ship. And the shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shadows.
Just creepy.
Yes.
Yeah. You as well, Ian, you think?
I'd have to go with the climax. Him walking up the stairs, going to, I forget, what is her name? It starts with an E, I think.
I don't remember, you know, because they call her, like, I think Emma in one version, and then in another version she's, like, Helen.
Because in Dracula, I think her name is Mina.
Yeah.
But I forget what it is in this.
I saw in some translations they call her Mina.
In this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In Nosferatu.
That's
so, yeah, they're blatant. Hutter's got a different name in some versions.
Okay.
Like, I
mean, that's funny.
You know, gone to different places.
Wow. Ellen, thank you. Yeah. Just him walking up the stairs, and then, you know, his demise. That's, you know, it's the climb, you know, it's like the payoff. I think it really wraps the movie up very well. Kind of goes out with a bang. Which I really like.
A burst of flame.
Yeah. I mean, I like everything with the boat is great too, but you know, that's when I think of this movie, I always think of the climax.
Yeah,
for the most part.
I would say if there's like one iconic shot you'd have to pick, it would be him climbing up the stairs in the shadow. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these filmmakers, if they were still, they'd give them a pat on the back. I mean, you know, there's not many movies from 1922 that have lasted this long in our popular culture. So
that's right.
Good on them.
Yeah, 100 years and you still got, you know, people like us watching this movie.
Exactly.
And
finding out
basically calling it the gold standard of of vampire movies.
Yeah, it's one of them for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's like one of a few. I feel like that,
I think it's like this and Bela Lugosi's Dracula and
that make up the foundation for all kinds of other movies. I mean, you mentioned the sunlight thing was from this movie,
right? Yeah,
or at least Dying by Sunlight.
Yeah.
It's so impactful, and I wonder how for its time, was it expensive? Was it did it take
That's a good question. I'm not
6
sure.
months to shoot, or probably not though, because from what I read about the director, he had so many movies in such a short amount of time. But yeah, did they really just find Max Schreck in a coffin somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, the coffin shot is probably really iconic as well.
Yeah, that
He
too. Yeah.
pulls it back and
Definitely.
he's just chilling in there.
Right.
I don't know how he knew how to find the crypt. I mean,
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good point.
he just sort of like walks out after he wakes up and he's pissed off and he's like,
That's a very good point. Yeah. Also, all right. I don't know why. Just maybe you brought up you finding the crypt and reminded me of this. Have you ever seen Christopher Lee's Dracula?
Long time
It's called,
ago.
like, Horror of Dracula.
Yeah.
In these parts, that's a great one too. That's the first time they've like really upped the violence and blood in a vampire movie. Have you ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
Dude, if you can find it, I would recommend it. It's pretty damn cool.
He's like a horror.
Yeah, he's
King.
like a Vincent Price and
Yeah.
like a Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing plays Van Helsing in that. That's why he's called Count Dooku in Star Wars. George Lucas really liked those movies.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dooku. Max Schreck wasn't. You don't really think of him as a king of like horror or anything.
True.
Like that,
I don't know
but
what else. I actually looked at his filmography and I didn't recognize anything. So same with F.W. Murnau.
Maybe he got drafted into the war or something.
Maybe so. Yeah, he had to serve his country.
Yeah. Well, that would have been years later, so who knows?
He was
But yeah,
fighting for those Nazis.
Well, maybe he was a real vampire and he just showed up on set
Maybe
one day
so,
and
yeah.
disappeared back into.
Yep.
Slithered his way back.
Yeah.
And you noticed his teeth, right? I mean, we talked about him being a rat.
Yeah.
But I mean, he didn't have the regular vampire teeth.
Right.
not
That's
the
a good. Yeah, the
fangs.
fangs. Very good point. Yeah. Very good point.
Yeah, and his makeup is weird, and his
Yeah.
ears are pointy, and his fingers are long and pointy
Yeah.
and creepy. And
Yeah.
yeah, it really is creepy. Like, I think if you show a little kid this today, they're going to be creeped out.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very scary images.
The music, did you guys, when you watched it, was it just like the organ and stuff like that?
Yeah, pretty much,
That's
yeah.
the version I watched as
Which
well.
I like.
Although I saw that they did like a heavy metal version.
I think I read that too. That's
Yeah.
got to be something.
Yeah, because
That'd
I
be
heard
pretty
it,
fun.
and it has like lyrics and stuff, and I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
This is strange.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's funny.
or I heard some of it, but yeah, the music. I mean, it was fine. Like after a while, it just sort of becomes wallpaper, and it's just in the background. But,
Right. Yeah.
at the climax and stuff, I do remember it like picking up and everything. So music can be such a good way to get your feelings going.
Yeah.
And I saw that back in the day, they would have had like live people performing, and
Yeah.
was it Carlos? Were you telling me that at like Tower Theater or something they played it, and they had like a live organist?
Wow.
Yeah. Somebody said that. Maybe it wasn't
Was that
Tower.
was
maybe
that
it was,
recently?
Yeah, like sometime in the past like
Dude.
10, 20 years.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
I'd go
they
to
did it
that.
on,
That
like, the
sounds really
traditional,
cool.
you
That's wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, I would like that. That'd be.
Yeah.
Imagine being the guy and he mess up, the organist. Because
Gotta suck.
yeah,
Well, the original, obviously, the original score is gone.
Yeah. Right.
Probably
Yeah.
burned with some of the other copies of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 But I would imagine the organ one we heard is similar at least, or is probably
Yeah.
something.
I would
like that, 'cause
imagine
organs have been around forever.
Closest we can get. Yeah.
And they probably, I think they used organs during the silent film era.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to use those to, like for the to help illustrate what's going on in the movie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How should you feel in this scene?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Or like, him coming up out of the hold in the boat, and you just hear like, Friday night's a great night for football. Like, music
Oh
can
my
really make or
God.
break a scene.
Yeah. That's fucking hilarious.
So is that making it or breaking it?
For me, it would make it.
It's
For
both.
everybody else, it would break
It makes and breaks at the same time. It breaks new ground. Boy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting to watch a movie that doesn't have any, you can't hear what's going on, so you really have to kind of like lock in and focus. I like what you said, Ian. It's like reading a book.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta but that's cool again because sometimes I prefer to read the books over a movie in certain cases because the story you make in your head just might be a little better or more tailored to you.
Exactly. Yeah, the images you create in your head. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So maybe Orlok is like, hello, my name is Count Orlok, or maybe he's like more Vincent Pricey, Bela Lugosi.
That's funny.
And you watch it 6 months from now, and you have a totally different version of what's going on.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, definitely
different mindset.
Yeah, because the Werner Herzog version, is there sound in that, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like a
It's like a contemporary movie.
Yeah. Yep.
It looks really good too.
It's good. Yeah. There's an English version and a German version.
Oh, neat.
Which is crazy that they shot it like that. It must have been a pain in the ass to shoot. Like, one scene English, one scene German.
All right, do it again.
Yeah.
In English.
Do it, but this time in German. Talk about your penis. It's very funny.
It never fails to get a laugh.
It never fails to get a laugh. I never saw it.
They're going to have these Austin Power movies.
Exactly. They'll be talking about their penises. I never saw it fail to get a laugh. I would give this movie a 4 out of 5. I think it's very well done. I think it's a standout of silent films of this era. Not my favorite, but it's definitely... If I were to tell people to watch silent... It's funny because they're all pretty much horror. I would tell them 3. I'd tell them The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, this, and The Phantom of the Opera. Those are the 3 gold gems, the gems of the silent era.
Not Birth of a Nation?
If you want to watch that, sure. I mean...
I watched that in high school. That's like about...
See, I've never have, and I don't think I really want to.
I was gonna say that's like kind of the only other silent film I've watched, and it's not at all like this one, so.
There's another. It's not silent. There's like Triumph of the Will. It's like a Nazi propaganda movie that's kind of like Birth of a Nation, and it's like really important in film, but it's horrible subject matter.
Right.
Anyway, 4 out of 5 for me.
Nice. Yeah, Mark, what do you think on this one?
3.5 probably out of 5.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The biggest hit is good hit, I guess, is it's like I said earlier, it's the gold standard. It's it was a maverick undertaking. There's a lot of history there, and it introduces with sunlight, introduces a new aspect to it. Probably not the Stoker people probably aren't happy about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a good jumping off point for the vampire movies that we have now.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, like no history of vampire movies would be complete if you didn't have 1922's Nosferatu.
Exactly.
Yeah, for my rating, I think I would land at a 4 as well.
Okay.
It's so hard to rate
an
old movie like this because you look at it a little differently. Yeah. I don't have a top 3 silent films because I don't think I've seen 3 silent films. But, now that I've seen this one, this is definitely my top one.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I think the only things that maybe detract from it, there's like a couple random scenes that just felt a little oddly placed. Like, I like it and I don't. The Venus flytrap scene, I kind of thought I could do without it because I felt like it was already adequately explained. But again, maybe that's me looking at it 100 years later and knowing everything.
Right.
Some of the stuff just kind of went on for a long time. Like I thought the shots of like Hutter on his horse and stuff, I was like, yeah, I understand. And Mark, you brought it at the beginning. The beginning is kind of slow. It takes a second to get into it.
Yeah.
Plus his overacting is just a little funny.
Whew.
Yeah.
Like there are parts where I'm laughing. Yeah. I'm not supposed to laugh, I'm sure.
Right, yeah. I agree.
Yeah. But as for, just like the creepiness of it, the unsettling feeling you get from watching it, the fact that can still hold up 100 years later, that's amazing, Well, I think that about does it for Nosferatu, 1922. I had a good time watching this one. Thanks, Ian, for picking this. It's the 100-year anniversary.
Yeah, I'm just glad you guys liked it. And,
yeah.
weren't like, oh, why'd you pick this boring-ass old movie? You old man, get out of here. God. Nah. What, 100-year-old movie? The future is now. Come on.
Future's now, old man. Yeah. Well, it's cool to just see a different perspective, different something from a different time.
The nice thing about film is it's timeless.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. I forget who said this, but I heard someone say one time that it's the closest we'll ever get to like time travel.
Oh,
and
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. The outfits and everything, and just the mindset and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's really interesting. The whole package, the whole enchilada.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, cool. That wraps up Nosferatu. We're going to be talking next week about Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Some old Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah. George Miller, good stuff there.
Yeah, very good stuff.
I may or may not be present for the episode. I'm having a baby. So my little daughter, it depends if she wants to wait or not.
Yeah.
But I think she's ready to come out, so any day now. I wasn't even sure if I'd get here to Nosferatu, so. Yeah.
Thankfully you did, though.
Yeah.
No. Glad you're here.
You did, yeah.
So pretty soon I'll be holding her, and she'll be crying or sleeping, and we'll be watching movies together. But
that is okay, Roman. We will all be quiet.
Yeah.
Be quiet. Yes. We'll keep the penis jokes to a minimum.
Yes, please. This is my daughter we're speaking about.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, Road Warrior next week, and there we go.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening.